Every legend leaves a trace. Some linger in memory, others in things that were never meant to fall into human hands. In the Myths Belief Store, you'll find artifacts, talismans, and relics steeped in the darkness of ancient faiths. Enter if you dare to touch what is forgotten and terrifying. Link in the description. At the edge of the world, where the sun sinks into blood-red light and the earth fades into emptiness, the ancient Greeks placed an island no one dared to set foot on. They said a creature lived there whose very sight could shatter human courage. 3 bodies fused into one. 3 faces looking in different directions. 3 times the strength and 3 times the fury. This was Geryon, a monster guarded by red bulls, a 2-headed dog, and a warrior who had never known mercy. And yet, even he could not stop Heracles. Geryon is one of the most extraordinary monsters in Greek mythology, a being whose appearance alone was meant to inspire terror. He was described as a 3-bodied giant, with 3 torsos rising from a single waist and a single pair of legs. In other accounts, he had 3 heads, 6 arms, and 6 legs, and his body was so massive that he looked like a living fortress. Some ancient depictions even give him 4 wings, making him even more inhuman and demonic. His strength was triple, 3 times greater than that of an ordinary giant, and his awareness nearly absolute, with each of his heads watching a different direction. Geryon was the son of Chrysaor and Callirrhoe, making him the grandson of Medusa and a relative of Pegasus. His lineage was steeped in monstrosity, magic, and tragedy, the perfect recipe for a being that belonged neither to the world of mortals nor the realm of gods. Geryon lived on the island of Erytheia, located at the western edge of the world, where the sun set in a crimson blaze. It was there that he raised his famous red bulls, creatures so powerful and wild that they were treasures worth dying for. Geryon guarded them with obsessive loyalty. They were his pride, his wealth, and his curse. Geryon was not a solitary monster. His island was protected by 2 other terrifying beings, Orthrus, the 2-headed dog and brother of Cerberus, just as wild and dangerous, and Eurytion, a mighty herdsman who watched over the herd at Geryon's side. The capture of Geryon's red bulls was the 10th labor of Heracles, one of the most difficult and epic of all. To reach Erytheia, Heracles had to cross deserts, endure scorching heat, and even shoot an arrow at the sun itself. Helios, amused by the hero's audacity, gifted him a golden boat that allowed him to sail west across the ocean. Upon reaching the island, Heracles killed Orthrus first, then Eurytion, and finally faced Geryon himself. The battle was brutal and chaotic, 3 bodies attacking at once, each with its own weapon and its own strength. Geryon fought like an entire army contained within a single being. Yet Heracles struck him down with a single arrow that pierced all 3 torsos at once. It was a symbolic moment, a man defeating a monster not through brute force, but through precision and cunning. Heracles took the red bulls and completed one of his most legendary labors. Geryon, though not as famous as the Minotaur or Cerberus, appears in many modern works of culture, in films, games, books, and television, often as a symbol of monstrosity, chaos, or multi-headed power. In cinema and TV, he is referenced in productions such as Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, where the motif of red bulls and a guardian monster appears in several episodes, in Disney's Hercules animated universe, where Geryon appears in supplemental materials and comic adaptations, and in the BBC series Atlantis, which uses his myth as inspiration for creature design. In video games, Geryon appears as inspiration for bosses and monsters in titles such as Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where his myth is mentioned in artifact and location descriptions, in Hades by Supergiant Games, where his legend echoes through weapon and enemy lore, in Age of Mythology, in expansions and mods where he functions as a mythic unit, and in God of War, whose bestiary includes creatures clearly inspired by his multi-bodied form. In literature, Geryon appears in Dante's Divine Comedy as a demon of fraud, in the Percy Jackson series, especially in the Battle of the Labyrinth, where he is portrayed as the owner of a ranch full of monsters. And in numerous mythological works such as Hesiod's Theogony and the Bibliotheca attributed to Apollodorus, which describe his appearance, lineage, and battle with Heracles. His image has become the archetype of the multiple monster, a being with many bodies, many heads, and many strengths, making him a perfect inspiration for fantasy creators, RPG designers, and modern myth reinterpretations. Geryon is a monster that embodies everything most monumental in Greek mythology, an extraordinary lineage, an inhuman form, and the role of a guardian of a treasure that no one but Heracles could claim. His legend has survived for thousands of years because it tells the story of a man facing a creature that seems impossible to defeat and yet falls to a single arrow. It is a tale of strength, cunning, and courage that pushes beyond the limits of what humans should be capable of. And now a question for you. Do you find Geryon more terrifying in his three-bodied form or in the version with three heads? Which of Heracles' labors is your personal favorite? And which monster from Greek mythology should appear in the next episode? If you enjoy this series, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the dark mythological stories coming to the channel.